Sometimes a single sentence in a defense agreement can completely redraw the map of power, and that's exactly what's happening in Asia right now. There's a new pact between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, and it's sending shockwaves all the way from New Delhi to Washington. So today, we're going to break down what this deal is, why it's happening now, and what it means for the new geopolitical chessboard.
Okay, this right here. This is the line at the very heart of the new Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement. And let me tell you, this isn't just fancy diplomatic talk, it's a rock-solid promise. It means an attack on Pakistan could now be seen as an attack on Saudi Arabia, and the other way around. As the source material puts it, this is precisely what is, quote, ranking nerves in New Delhi, because it takes a long-standing partnership and turns it into a formal military alliance. That's a total game-changer for the region's security.
So to really get why this pact has created such a stir, you have to look at the timing. Trust me, this is no coincidence. It's the direct result of a series of really explosive events that basically set the stage for this exact moment.
Right, and for India, this pact couldn't have landed at a more critical time. After that devastating terror attack in Pahalgam in April 2025, which New Delhi says was linked to Pakistan-based militants, India kicked off a huge global campaign to try and diplomatically isolate Islamabad. While this alliance with a major power like Saudi Arabia, it doesn't just complicate that effort, it pretty much throws a massive wrench in the whole plan, handing Pakistan a major diplomatic win.
But like I said, this agreement didn't just appear out of thin air. As we're about to see, it's really the final piece of a geopolitical puzzle that's been taking shape for months, built from one escalating event after another that have totally reshaped the region.
Just look at this timeline. It shows a really rapid and clear escalation. You could say the fuse was lit back in October 2023 with the Hamas-Israel conflict, which made everyone in West Asia rethink their strategies. Then, bam, the Pahalgam attack in April 2025. That leads directly to Operation Sindoor in May, which was the biggest military clash between India and Pakistan in over 50 years. And then, just a few months later in September, this defense pact gets announced. You can see it, right? It's a direct chain reaction.
And get this, even as that conflict was heating up, Saudi Arabia was already playing a huge role behind the scenes. During Operation Sindoor, Saudi diplomats were reportedly on the ground in New Delhi, working hard to de-escalate the crisis. So what that tells us is that Riyadh's deep involvement started way before this formal pact was signed, shifting their role from a quiet mediator to a very public formal ally.
So this brings us to the big question. What's the motivation here? To really understand why this partnership was made official right now, we need to open up the strategic playbook for both Riyadh and Islamabad and see what each of them gets out of this deal.
And what you find is that their goals fit together almost perfectly. For Saudi Arabia, this is all about what they call strategic autonomy. They see the U.S. as a less reliable partner these days, so they want access to Pakistan's very experienced military. And for Pakistan, the benefits are huge. They get to challenge New Delhi's security, they repair their vital relationship with the kingdom, and they get to play their biggest card, their status as the only nuclear power in the Islamic world.
Yeah, from Islamabad's point of view, this is just a brilliant strategic play. The pact lets them, as the saying goes, kill two birds with one stone. They get to fix a strained relationship with a super powerful ally in Saudi Arabia and, at the exact same time, create a brand new security headache for their main rival, India.
Now, a key driver here for Riyadh is this idea of strategic autonomy. It's basically a country's ability to act on its own on the world stage without being held back by other powers. But here's the kicker, the great irony that the source points out. Strategic autonomy is the exact same goal that India has been chasing for years. And when two major powers are both trying to carve out their own independent path, well, sometimes their interests collide. And that's exactly what we're seeing here.
This quote, this really gets to the unspoken part of the Saudi-Pakistan relationship, the nuclear dimension. For decades, there's been this undercurrent, this idea of an Islamic bomb, a nuclear capability that could be shared among Muslim nations. And according to the source, this new defense pact brings that unspoken possibility right back into the spotlight.
So, what does this all mean for India? Well, according to the source material, this pact isn't just another alliance to keep an eye on. No, it's being framed as a direct challenge to India's foreign policy, a real wake-up call for its entire strategic way of thinking.
The source argues that this pact exposes a fundamental miscalculation in Indian foreign policy. There might have been this assumption that you could drive a wedge between Pakistan and the Arab states. But the reality, the source suggests, is that these relationships are built on what it calls unbreakable fundamentals, things like faith and ideology, making them way more resilient than maybe New Delhi was counting on.
So this pact, then, really highlights what the source describes as a core challenge within India's strategic culture. It's painted as being culturally risk-averse, slow to adapt, and maybe a little detached from how fast things are moving today. The argument being made is that this default position of fence-sitting and trying to be the chief pacifist just isn't a winning strategy anymore, because it limits your options when things get tough.
And that chessboard metaphor the source uses, it's a really powerful warning. This pact isn't the whole game. It's just the trailer. It's a preview of how quickly other players are making their moves and setting up the board. The message is pretty clear. If you wait too long to make your move, you might find the game is already stacked against you.
And the source material sums up this sense of urgency with a really stark conclusion. The world is being reshaped and will not wait for what India believes is going to be its time. In other words, you can't just wait for the future to happen. It's being built right now, with or without you at the table.
Which leaves us with the one fundamental question this whole situation forces us to think about. In a world that's being reshaped this quickly, can any rising power really afford to just sit on the fence? In this new era, maybe the biggest risk isn't taking action, it's doing nothing at all.